This is my presentation on Cambourne condition of learning. Condition of learning do occurs in some of the steps, so that's why I choose his web-looking diagram here. But let me speak from this one because it emphasizes that the engagement step is probably the most crucial part, which is the third step. So there's 8 conditions altogether. The first one is immersion. In this step, that's where you surround the learner in literature, curriculum, poster on wall, even seating arrangement in the classroom, display of classroom resources, as well as taking field trips and writing and reading that has to do with the topic. The second step of Cambourne condition of learning is demonstration. The more experienced person, or the teacher in this case, show the learner how to master it by either methodology of action or artifact. And the third step is engagement. And I choose this illustration to speak from because the third step is the most important step for the learner, where all the other steps are mostly from the teacher's point of view. Here, learners are observing what is taught and make the connection. Does the student see a connection, the usefulness of what is demonstrated to their life, which can spark and keep their interest, in turn keeps the information longer lasting in their brain. The engagement step is students learning of their potential, if they believe that they possess the potential to succeed academically or in what they are being demonstrated. I will elaborate on it later where the brain and connection slide is. And the fourth condition is expectation. Expectation is what is expected from the students as well as the teacher. The teacher usually sets the tones, usually set by the teacher. Is their power to choose, choices given, as well as what the learner may be expected of himself here. Because they coexist and overlap, this condition leads to the next one as well, and it ties together, allows the learner to set goal given the choices, which in turn lead to responsibility. Responsibility is where the students taking ownership of their education and work hard towards their goal and setting goals. Because given that balance of powers that the teacher had shared with them. And the sixth step, of Cambourne learning condition is employment. Employment is where students is being able to apply what they are learning in a different setting. So does the student take what they have learned to put to use where it can be applied wherever else? It's in a way owning it. This is where that knowledge will last longer because it's being put to use somewhere else. Like Brian's ironing his daughter's clothes for her to show off what he's mastered after he went through the demonstration and mastering the art of ironing. And the seventh condition is approximation. In the approximation step, students needs to be able to make mistake while learning and feel safe doing so. Otherwise, they shut down. It's just to be able to open up and not feel judged. Allows them to want to take risk. Otherwise, they also cease to learn if they feel like they can't take the risk and have a safe environment to do so. Here, I like to emphasize that it co-occur with the 8th condition, which is response, because in being able to approximate, you can also get the immediate feedbacks or response of your error being corrected right away, so that in repeating and practicing the material, you're not practicing the wrong thing over and over again, because now you're learning, but you're learning the wrong thing you didn't intend to. So in the immediate feedback, you have the right material to put into practice, which solidified in your mind, and you're being committed to memory, the right material. And then the last step is response. That's the feedback, the interaction between the teacher and the student, letting the student know how they are doing, and the student is asking how they're progressing at this point, and even feedback from other students as well, as a peer feedback. In this next slide, it's about the brain and mind principle. The way the brain works is through our five senses. It is being stimulated with information all day long. So the more our brain is being stimulated and engaged, the more the dendrite reaches out and connect to other ones in the brain, which with repeated exposure makes the myelin sheath thicker and thicker. The thicker the myelin sheath is, the more encapsulated the learning is, and the faster the memory response time is in recalling that information later on. So basically, it's like a road when you traveled on it after several times, and often it's easier to repeat, even to the point of automatically. Here, I'd like to emphasize that emotion is built into it as well. What is built it in that protein is not just information, but that emotion that's attached to it. And in the reading of Connecting Cambourne's Condition to the Early Childhood Learning, the author encouraged the learner to keep a positive emotion mode, because in the positive emotion and the happy mode, the human brain is more alert and able to keep engaged. So that helps with the learning, and it also helps build memory versus the negative emotion. Because in the negative and depressed emotion, you're not as alert, and you won't be able to recall the information what you're learning as good as in the happy mode. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about the transactive paradigm and transmissive paradigm, and how they align with the 8 conditions of learning. So transactive paradigms create an environment that engages student and create critical thinking. Cambourne condition ties closely to this paradigm, because both provide student with a rich and higher learning education environment. This paradigm keeps student engaged and not just a means of transferring information to them. It empowers the learner, and it creates responsibility over one's learning. At the same time, build trust in the teacher and student dynamic and interaction. The transactive model is about the balance of that power and trusting them to have the choices about their learning, and building confident and allow goal setting when given that choice to be a part of their learning process. So in turn, they're taking responsibility and having parts in their learning process, versus their transmissive model. Transmissive model is about keeping control over the students and what they teach is basically in the classroom. It's more about submission of the student inside the classroom, which leads a lot of time to the inactions. There's not a lot of engagement. So it aligns more with the scripts methods of teaching and curriculum, and it also have low expectation of the student as far as the teacher's point of view. Not very engaged, which has the propensity for a student to rebel and misbehave, since they're not kept engaged, and they're not interested, so their minds it's not in it. Their mind could be wandering off of whatever is being demonstrated as well. The teacher, as teacher, we need to have high expectation for ourselves and then reflecting it onto our student so that they can believe in themselves as well. And thinking thoughts like, we can learn, it is possible for me to learn, because they will be able to pick that up whether we verbally or even physical cue, just the fact that we believe that in ourselves, they will pick that up. So in closing, I just want to state that tracking or sorting and grouping student has been ineffective and operates on oppressive theory based on that low expectation, and mostly affects the minority groups. It also leads to transmissive learning, which does not support the Cambourne's condition, as we learn in this section. This is all the reading that I did for this session to do the presentation. So that's my presentation. Thank you.